Hey guys, it is Destiny here, and we have the full team on. We are going to give it a few minutes before we dive in, and then we're going to walk through a few slides, a few different strategic questions, and then open it up for you guys and hopefully be able to give you guys some good advice.
Just to chime in briefly, if you guys do have questions, there is a question box that you should see. I know Subhan, if I'm pronouncing your name right, you're raising your hand. If you have questions, just you can write it in the question box and we'll be able to see it and get you an answer once we kind of go through the first slides.
Awesome. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and dive in. So to begin with, one, we wanted to thank all of you guys for taking time out of the craziness to hop on this webinar. And number two, I think something that we all kind of discussed and wanted to stand by is there's really no definitive answers or right and wrong solutions for the scenario we are in. So we put together a few slides kind of walking through a lot of questions we want you guys to kind of analyze in your business, so we can provide you a really good solution. Two of the biggest areas that we're seeing right now with having issues in is shipping and inventory. So for shipping, we want you guys to kind of take a look. Do you guys have an FBM or a seller fulfilled prime backup option? Have you guys looked at partnering with a 3PL? And with inventory, are you guys looking to sell through really quickly and take advantage of the surge? Try to win new market share as people kind of shift their buyer habits from brick and mortar to online? Are you wanting to slow down on sales and try to pace out and never go out of stock until we have inbound shipping opened up? And is your competition in stock? What is your category looking like right now? Overall, I think we can always hope for the best, but we need to prepare for the worst. I think we need to have a plan in place for a minimum of 4 more weeks without inbound shipments, of course, for certain categories. And we need to kind of really look at the long-term goals of our business and basically put some strategies in place to handle these situations. Let's see here. So two other areas of the business that we're seeing an effect from basically the crash to e-commerce and then the shipping problem is sales and indexation. So there is a lot of different advice being thrown out there for these two areas, and it is very, very dependent on what your actual goals are. So have your guys' sales slow down, and do you want them to slow down? Have your guys' sales increased? Do you have the inventory to sustain this increase? Has your conversion rate been affected? And then indexation. Indexation is kind of the big question, and this is probably the one I see being most repeated across all the different platforms. How has competition, or how competitive is your category? Do you have a chance to win new market share? What personal experience do you have with the effect of going out of stock? So there's two pretty different theories in this department. One of them is if you sell through extremely quickly and go out of stock, you're going to lose indexation if you're out of stocks for 3 to 4 weeks. And then there's another theory that states that if we do kind of elongate our inventory, slow down sales, and try to last as long as possible, our indexation is going to drop due to the decrease in sales compared to our competition. So these are two big areas I think we really need to look at. We need to look at our category, look at our competition, and really analyze what we've seen in the past and utilize those past experience with your specific products to make a decision. I think another big area of this is we need to discuss what your long-term goals are and make plans based on those. If this is kind of a side hobby, that's going to be extremely different than if you are building a brand presence and you're trying to win new market share and things like that. As things change in the next few weeks, we need to be flexible, but without making emotional decisions. I think one of the biggest things I saw the moment this announcement was made, everyone kind of freaked out and was like, we need to stop advertising. We need to stop PPC. And I think that's a great decision based on certain categories, but I think this is also a really unique position to win market share, especially if you're in some of the supplement spaces, the health household spaces. We're seeing really big increases there. And as your competition's going out of stock, it is a great opportunity to win new market share. Consumables, again, this is a great opportunity to drive, brand awareness, drive new to brand orders, which is going to increase your lifetime value as more people come across your brand. So don't make a rash decision, really focus on your long-term goals, analyze these 4 different areas and make a decision based off those. So one side of thinking is to slow down sales. So if you're planning on slowing down, you probably just need to focus on profitability. We don't necessarily recommend cutting all ads and completely pausing your advertising. In past scenarios with certain brands, we've actually seen kind of detrimental effects from these. Amazon doesn't like paused campaigns, that's for sure. So one of the first things we look at doing is cutting bids. Run a bid cut across all of your keywords that aren't even close to your target ACOS. And even if they are within your target ACOS, you can look at cutting bids to be even more profitable. This is where we actually started with a few of our accounts. Second thing is to cut budgets. So as you guys know, we are very strategic with our campaigns being different strategies. So some of our, branded campaigns have a different budget than what our ranking campaigns are. So we want to decrease budgets on anything over our target ACOS or that doesn't align with our strategy. And I'll discuss that a little bit more on the redistribute spend area. Another thing that we need to do is analyze conversion rates. So we have a few products in certain categories where conversion rates have, spiked a ton. Supplements, this is a great area where conversion rates have increased. And we've actually went in and started launching way more top of the funnel keyword targeting than ever before because we're converting so well, our ACOS is much lower. And again, it's a consumable. People buy it once and they love it, they're probably going to come back. So that's something that we're looking at here. But if our conversion rates have dropped due to the product not being in high demand, consider pausing the ads or greatly reducing budgets. So this is another one of those things. There's 100 different theories around what to do with, poor performing campaigns. If that conversion rate drops, look at pausing them or setting a $1 to $2 daily budget, which is pretty much equivalent to pausing it. That way you're kind of reducing the hemorrhaging spend with those decreased conversion rates. Another thing to do, redistribute spend. If you're trying to be more profitable in general because of cash flow issues, you probably don't want 30% of your spend, going to protected your branded share. There's a potential to, look at your competitor targeting, look at your major keyword targeting, instead just focus on those long tail keywords that are doing really, really well. That was another decision we made when it came to kind of looking at a lot of our brands that really need to slow down and focus on profitability. We probably don't want to utilize all of that spend for returning consumers. Yes, in the long run, you want to protect that place, but right now, if cash flow is an issue, it probably makes more sense to try to target new consumers still just because of the lifetime value there.
Hey, Destiny, now, quick question.
Yeah.
Is there Nate, or I think it's Nate Johnson was asking, is there supposed to be slides?
Yes. Can you guys not see them?
I think you need to go ahead and under sharing, click share screen. Unless I'm the only one that's not looking at it.
Mine just said stop showing screen. I don't have a share screen option.
Let me try to force share yours real quick. Let's see if that helps. Let's see.
All right. If not, I can show you the link to this because you're sharing your screen, I believe.
Okay, I've made you the presenter. Now we got you.
That makes a difference.
Thanks, Nate. I'll let you keep going. I'll mute myself now.
All right. I will just do really quick walkthrough. Again, shipping inventory, sales and indexation, and then slowing down, focusing on profitability, cutting bids, budgets, analyze conversion rates, redistribute spend, and now driving sales. So this is kind of for the people who probably do have a lot of inventory and they're wanting to take advantage of this increase as much as possible. We have quite a few brands that are seeing exponential growth in this time period. And what we're really doing is focusing on that new market share. So we're increasing bids pretty much across the board. We are seeing improvements in conversion rates, decrease in ACOS. One, because competition is slowing down. Maybe they're stopping their advertising strategy, or maybe they're out of stock. So we're wanting to kind of increase bids and win as much as possible. We're increasing our top of the funnel targeting. So if your competitors are cutting back and running out of stock, increase your top of the funnel targeting with the intent of winning new market share. A great example of this is we have a few items that are in the baby category. And instead of targeting the keywords that are extremely relevant to their product, we're targeting keywords like baby. And we're still driving incredible conversions due to that. Mainly because a lot of the products that are similar to them are out of stock. So people are kind of looking for a backup option, but it's really a great way to win, new to brand orders. Another thing, again, is analyzing your conversion rates. If you're seeing an increase your budgets and risk targeting higher top of the funnel traffic, because you're going to probably get similar ACOS. The last big things are promotions and incentivized sales. So coupons, best deals, discounts, doing anything and everything to kind of highlight your listing so people see it. I know when it comes to specifically advertising, we always recommend running product display ads and sponsored products, separate campaigns strictly for these promotions, because the badges kind of draw attention to your listing. And in a really oversaturated category, you want all of these new consumers that are now on .com to see those badges. So these are kind of the big things that we are doing to really drive additional sales and focus on market share. Another thing is this is kind of a great opportunity for everyone to analyze how good their Amazon advertising strategy is. Take advantage of sponsored brands. Make sure you're running video and search, product display ads. That's how we drive that additional profitability. If you're running with only 1 or 2 strategies and you've been doing okay so far, all of this happening and the competition and what's happening with inventory is going to be kind of a great time for you to sit down and really see how good your strategy is. Whether or not you need to focus on profitability, which is going to make it ever more important to focus on bid management, bidding on Longtail Keywords and everything else, or if you're working on driving sales, which is going to be a great time to focus on increasing your scope of keywords, sponsor brands, and all the new ad types. So these are kind of the 2 big things we're doing. Again, our whole purpose for this is we kind of wanted you guys to talk through shipping, inventory, sales, and indexation within your own company and brands, and basically come to us with what you're doing now and what we recommend you adjust to accommodate all of these questions that could be affecting your business. So with that being said, any questions that you guys may have would be a fantastic time to kind of shoot them in the chat box, and you'll have all of us on here to, just talk through strategy. And again, thank you guys so much, and we really hope everyone's staying safe and staying calm with everything going on. Awesome. So can the rest of the team see these questions?
I can see them. Yes. First question, I'll handle questions coming through and alert them. Question from, forgive me if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, Subhan Said. Any specific advice to sellers in toy category affected mainly due to Chinese suppliers?
I have had quite a few questions that are very similar to this. Everything I've seen, there's been a lot of data released recently on the toy category, and they've seen pretty big increases. So kind of my question back to you is, what is their inventory looking like? Are they having any delays in shipping? I would probably look at pushing a lot of top of the funnel traffic here, because a lot of people are looking for kind of resources to keep their kids occupied with staying at home.
So what we could do to make this a bit more interactive is we could go ahead and unmute Subhan so that we could go back and forth, because I think for everybody, there's probably going to be a lot of questions. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, Subhan, I'm not sure if you have a mic, but I'm going to go ahead and unmute you and see if we can, you are now unmuted. Looks like based on GoToWebinar, Your mic is not on, or it may be muted, but
Hello.
hey,
Yeah.
how you doing?
Hello, Destiny. Hi, Bentrud. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Yes, sound
Oh,
great.
thank you. Actually, we are sellers in India marketplace, Amazon.in. So we have been selling in toys category for the last 1 year. The basic problem we have got is inventory related, because most of the sellers are going out of stock and the prices are going high. So the advertising is also not spending too much. So in this case, whether we should increase our advertising spend to increase the market share?
How much longer do you think till your inventory hits?
Yeah, it can last for next 2 months.
Oh, for the next 2 months. Um,
Yeah.
I think it's a great opportunity to try to win that market share, especially with kind of directly correlated products. But let's say you
Yeah.
have a specific product like a VR headset and all of your competition is out of stock. You may not need to run ads because you're going to be the #1 listing in stock. Um,
Yeah.
does anyone else have anything else to add there?
Mm. Okay, so you want me to increase the advertising spend and increase the biddings?
Yeah, I think it depends on your competition again. Uh, anyone else, Kyle or Alex, have
Yeah,
an opinion with that?
yeah, I would look at it product by product, and like you said, Destiny, if you're looking at a product and typically you're at the bottom of the search results and you're seeing your competitors run out of stock,
Yeah.
or you could just look at this as a time to try to steal that market share, and you might be able to get that cost per click for cheaper than usual. So look at all your products and look at ones that typically don't perform as high as you wish. And this might be a good time to test out some new sponsored brands ads and drive people to your brand and see your brand. That's all the AMS reps that we're talking to telling us to really, especially in the toys category, to really focus on building out your brand and getting people to learn more about you.
Yeah, one more follow-up question for this. Can we launch new products in this scenario? Is it the right time to launch new products in toys category? I'd like to ask.
Yeah, I've seen some differentiating opinions on here, but I think it'd be a good time if everyone else is out of stock in that specific category. Because of the
Mhm.
honeymoon period, people are probably buying with less reviews if there's a product
Yeah.
out.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course.
Thanks, brother.
All
Okay,
right.
next up we have Mark Y. Supplements. ACOS is very high, so my question, how to know for sure what is the ACOS must be based on my product, how to know what is the ACOS for my product. So Mark, let me go ahead and unmute you. That one was a bit
Yeah,
confusing.
and to kind of dive in there, you can pull your advertised product report for sponsored products, which gives you every single sale that's been driven by an ASIN. So if you have a campaign with 10 ASINs in it, on the sponsored product side, you can pull the advertised product report for the time frame you want, and that's a great way to get your ACOS. Sponsored brands, of course, is much more complex because they don't give us a report like that.
So Mark Y is no longer on, but Mark, if you join back in under a different name for whatever reason, just comment another question. Next up, we have Ben Morgan. Let me go ahead and unmute you, Ben. You had a question about using portfolios. Ben, you're
Can you
unmuted.
hear me?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, I just had a question about organization with all of the different types of campaigns that you run for a specific product. How do you organize your campaign titles just to make things easy to, with testing automatic and manual campaigns and all the different variations?
Yeah. So kind of the first thing we always try to include in our campaign name is the product identifier. So what differentiates the product? That is the first thing we want to show up, just so it's really easy to search by in Campaign Manager. If we pull search terms report, we can see exactly what the product that we're focusing on is. The next thing we typically look at is whether or not it's sponsored products or sponsored brands. You can filter by that, but it's just easier to look at it in one clean space. The targeting type is something we put. So if it's ranking keywords, long-tail keywords, competitor targeting, we just have kind of short names for all of those. We don't put typically whether or not it's auto or manual because that's given in a column next to it. So it's pretty easy to just view from a high level. And then if it's a landing page, we sometimes put whether, like for sponsored brands, if we're driving to a store page, video and search, or just a landing page, we put those in there.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
Cool. I was going to say I could probably share screen and show one example of our nomenclature, but if that's more helpful, Ben, let me know. Be happy to do that. Next question, as far, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong again. I'm thinking of reducing or pausing my auto campaigns and moving the budget to manual. More of a statement, but let me see if I can go ahead and unmute you. I don't think you're on anymore. No. So the next question is from Luke. Luke, let me go ahead and unmute you. Or Luca, sorry, pronounced the name wrong. You are unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, okay, I'm an Amazon seller from Taiwan, so my English is not pretty good. I have a question about the lots of skills with similar keywords. Let's say magnifying glass, and all of my products are like the seed keyword are magnifying glass, but I have like 40 to 50 SKU sharing the same keyword, but only 5 of them are performing. The 80% of them are not performing very well. So I'm wondering whether I should focus on those 5 skills and put a lot of budget on it, or how do I manage the rest of skills that are not performing?
Yeah. So one, your English was fantastic. That made complete sense. 2, are they in a parent-child variation or are they their own ASINs?
They are all different ASINs.
Perfect. So if they're in a parent-child variation, we do the exact same thing. We always focus on the top 5. But if they're in their own listings, it's a really great opportunity to kind of dominate market share because there's like 15 different sponsored placements on page 1 that your products can show up. So you can bid on same keywords across multiple ASINs and really not have that much of an issue because you're just going to win different sponsored product placements. I would still probably only focus on, the 20% that's driving 80% of your business. But what you can always do is start with the top 5 and then work your way down, really trying to invest in, different product display ads for the other group. And once they get their reviews up to par, and maybe there is slight differentiation by size and color that you can bid on. So if you have a red soccer ball and a black soccer ball, bid on red soccer ball keywords versus black. Or if your magnifying glasses are 2 different sizes, you can kind of differentiate that way. But you're pretty much always going to see the majority of your traffic come from those top 5 ASINs.
Okay, so what you mean is I can bid like same keywords across all of my SKUs, and they are showing to like different placement.
Yeah, typically they'll show up on many different placements. You can try to target, product detail pages because you have the sponsored products related to this item. So if you're running ASIN targeting campaign, there's a ton of different placements you can win there. So even though you're targeting the same keywords, there's still quite a bit of ways you can differentiate just by the long tail targeting, the ASIN targeting. And again, there's so many different sponsored product placements. You can bid on quite a few different keywords with very similar ASINs.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll jump in real quick too, to really help fine tune it. You know, the top 5 that you have that are really crushing it with just around the magnifying glass keyword. You know, let those latch on. Those are the algorithm has found that those are relevant. People are converting, so definitely capitalize on that. But then I would really take a fine-tooth comb through the rest of your catalog and maybe center the optimizations around a different long tail for each other listing. So maybe you look at reading glass 5x or reading glass 10x. Kind of give each listing a unique attribute and put that unique attribute closer to the front of the title and really double down on that. Even though they're all relatively the same, magnifying glass, reading glass, etc. Just kind of pick a unique trait for each one and really double down on that.
Okay, so it's like a long tail modifier for the keyword.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for the suggestion. I think it really helps.
Sure, absolutely.
Cool. All right. Thanks.
Aaron, I just checked your guys' comments in the Facebook group. I was literally reading through and then I was like, oh, there's this question. But yeah, if you could unmute Aaron, that would be great, Taylor.
Aaron Biner, right? Or Binner?
Yep, correct.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing the last name right. Aaron, you're unmuted.
Hey, I'm here.
What's up?
It's basically the same question. I think Mina kind of answered it. My break even's 35%. My A cost over the last few months has been in the like 31% range, so it's doing all right. Like organic sales last month were 65% were organic, 35% were from PPC. Just I have tons of inventory. That's not a problem. Just trying to find a way to drive my A cost lower. So I'm thinking of kind of like down bidding the ones that are right on the break even precipice, like lowering them more. I've been doing like 5% every 3 to 4 days to try to keep that down. But now I'm thinking about going like more, like 10 or 15%. What do you think?
When you put in the chat box that your inventory is overstocked, do you mean that you may hit like storage fees or just that you are good to go for the next few months?
No, I mean like if things keep selling like it is now, like I have stock until like June probably. So it's too much inventory.
So that's a good problem to have right now. I think that's a good strategy. I am surprised you haven't seen any changes in conversion. I would watch that pretty closely. I know Alex has dealt with some of this. So Alex, do you have any more to kind of jump in on here?
Yeah, I've at a high level, the simplest thing, man, double down on what's doing really, really well, and then kind of clean up what's not. So I've taken the same approach that you're discussing there, as far as anything that's under my target, really up in the budgets if I can, and anything that's over, just getting aggressive about cutting it. The only small tip I would have, I think going in the ink you're doing is great. If you're looking at things to cut today, the attribution window is 7 days. It's usually pretty solid after about 72 hours in our experience. So if you're looking at, as far as any optimizations you want to do today, I would be looking at your window of, say, the 14th through the 17th, or actually probably the 14th through the 16th.
I've been doing 21-day attribution because like your video that you put out was talking about after 30 days, it's really when you know what the real PPC, what the real ACoS was. Mm-hmm. So I've been doing 21. I was doing 14 prior to that and going back 3 days prior to the date that you're optimizing at.
Okay, gotcha. That's even better. I was thinking more of like a last minute optimizations, like trying to cut budget down, since it's changed so much, like just in the last 7 days. But yeah, even better. And you're already doing what I said, so perfect.
Okay.
Also,
All right.
it sounds like your percentage of ad sales to overall sales has gone down. I think that was a
Yeah.
concern for you like 2 months ago. So congratulations on that.
Yeah, a couple months ago, I was doing like 50-50 organic to PPC sales, but I've just been finding as I lower the bids, like they're just still giving, the sales are still the same. So it's just a bit, and the sales are still the same, but it's going more organic. So that's the right direction.
Amazing. Something that is really good for that is running a lot of product display ads, which I know that's Mina's next question. But we found product display ads are kind of a great way to win new market share.
Yeah, I'm doing that too. But thank you for answering the
Awesome.
question.
Of course.
All right, I'll just mute now.
Awesome. Taylor, do you want to unmute Mina real quick?
Yes. Mina,
So,
search. Here he is.
would
Mina,
you
you're on.
start reevaluating your product targeting campaigns due to a lot of products going out of stock? What other ways can we capitalize with product targeting campaigns? So we have a brand that does like $100,000 a month in product targeting campaigns. And one of the biggest things we ran into with them is if you didn't update them really frequently, so many products on page one either drop in ranking or maybe get a bad review, things like that. So we pretty continually run new product targeting campaigns for this reason. So 100% reevaluate them if they go out of stock because you're going to stop getting impressions. Always kind of run a scraper on all the ASINs on page one and do that really frequently because again, their indexation, their rank could potentially drop, which is going to directly affect what your product targeting ad does. Now, if they drop reviews, that's a good thing for you because you're going to have a competitive advantage. But if they drop to page two, your impressions are going to be what drops down the most because if the product you're targeting is not getting a lot of views, then your ad's not getting a lot of views, which is on that product page. Other ways to capitalize, sponsored or Seller Central product targeting ads are now showing up under the buy box. They still don't have copy, but that gives you much more views than sponsored products related to this item. I know, Mina, we've talked about this before, but for others, product targeting ads that aren't targeting direct competitors, but they're targeting correlated products. This would be great for the toy category right now. If you're selling crayons, target coloring books, things like that. Category targeting is much cleaner than it was 6 months ago. You can now kind of refine by categories and you can search by categories. So if you scroll through and you don't see anything extremely relevant, search in the category box, play around with different top keywords, and you can get extremely refined on that category targeting, and those do really well. Awesome. All right, next question.
Oh. Mina, you are unmuted if you wanted to comment. Wasn't sure if you knew. But possibly the mic is down. That's okay. We'll move on to the next question. Or wait, let's see. Yeah, we'll move on to the next queue. Who did you see that was next? I think it was Miguel. Miguel says, I don't have a mic. I am in the party supply niche. I do to the recent events, my social events are not happening. So I'm not having searches and my keywords are not having enough searches to let me rank. What can I do?
Kyle, Alex, do one of you guys want to hop in here?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Any of the categories that are getting hit hard, like parties or any social gathering things, handful of other categories as well. You know, if you're just trying to get products to move, one thing you could do is get some promotions going. That might get customers that are just like shopping, looking for a deal. That might be your best bet just to get some products to keep going. Other than that, you can focus on, you know, building up your content on Amazon until this all improves. Alex, you got anything?
I think that's a great, you know, my inbox has been flooded with you know, companies trying to all get business right now with discounts and deals. So the traffic is definitely down for the category, and so it's definitely a tough one. But just kind of maxing out anything you can do on your detail page conversion wise. So it's just a good time to kind of double down on are the images looking good? Do you have a video on the listing? And then even for conversion rate, you know, maybe put a coupon on it. Just anything for the people that are ending up on your product page, we want to try to capture them to purchase. So making sure that everything you can do is as compelling as possible, image wise, you know, coupon promotion wise. Absolutely traffic is down, but how can we get the people who do end up on the page to convert? That's my feedback there.
Awesome.
Cool.
Oh, go ahead.
Nope, that was it. Miguel said, okay, thanks. Let's see who we got next. Luca, sponsored display product targeting. Do you recommend one SKU target, one ASIN, like sponsored products? I think we were speaking with Luca earlier, but did that question make sense, Destiny?
Yeah, we actually do not typically target one product on one ASIN. You can, if you're not targeting a ton of ASINs and you want to have really, really clean product targeting, so that way you can adjust your bid per ASIN. I think on the sponsored product side, you can do that. I know you can, at least with like category targeting and selecting certain products, but we do it in bulk just because it's easier. So we'll have, you know, one ASIN targeting 20 different ASINs. It doesn't really help or hurt anything.
We actually do single targeting ASINs for very few ASINs. This is product display ads, right, Destiny? Yeah. So in cases where we pull the search term report and see a competitor ASIN, not one of our own ASINs, that has at least, I think it's greater than 3 orders with an ACoS that's within our target, we will individually target that ASIN in its own campaign. And we'll also check that little box that says allow Amazon to target related ASINs. There's never been a case where we've ever checked that box except for this case. And it doesn't always work out, but we've seen with at least one of our clients for sure that I can think of off the top of my head, there's been a lot of campaigns with these single targeted ASINs while checking the box that allows Amazon to target related ones where it performs really well. Again, this is very account specific, but that's the only time we ever use single targeting ASINs, like one ASIN to one ASIN.
Awesome. So diving into the next question, what tools do you use to determine correlated keywords? So I'm going to answer for merchant words, then I'm going to pass it off to Kyle for helium 10. But there's quite a few different things we can use here. So brand analytics, you can honestly just use the Amazon search bar to come up with incredible keywords. You can use a dictionary to find kind of keywords that are synonymous with your major keywords. I love merchant words simply because it's a very, very clean list. So if you have a soccer ball again, and you type in soccer ball, your merchant words list isn't going to give you algorithmic based related keywords. It's just going to give you long tail variants of that root keyword. So red soccer ball size 4, things like that. And then Kyle, I know, uses helium 10 a lot, so he can give you some recommendations on that.
Yeah, good recommendations on using the Amazon search bar. You know, when you're starting off and you don't want to pay for a tool, using Amazon search bar is huge. Using the Google search bar is huge. Like just about any search bar that will bring up products, using all those different websites to get ideas. I used to use Google Trends as well to try to get some big, you know, fathead terms. And then if you're willing to invest in helium 10, I'm a huge advocate of their tools. I use both the Cerebro and the magnet tool. Cerebro is the reverse ASIN lookup, and you can get extremely specific with all these different types of filters on you know, what kind of results you want to get back. So you can take your top 10 competitors that are showing up for your ranking keyword or that main keyword, and then get all the keywords in theory that those ASINs are using and plug them into your listing. And then also just for going out and getting more broad category terms, you can use the Magnet keyword research tool, where you throw in a seed keyword and Magnet will spit out thousands of lines of data of what it thinks might be relevant. And then you can also use pretty intense filters there to whittle down your results. Yeah, those are my favorite tools.
Epic.
Awesome.
Darren, just also a heads up, you are unmuted in case you had any comments on that or questions, follow-ups. Possibly the mic is not on. I'll just assume that you don't have any questions on that. If you do, if you have any follow-up questions, just post in the box and we'll get to it. Okay, next up, Hafiz. Hopefully, man, Hafiz, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, I'm sorry. Do you take optimization decisions based on click-through rate? It's a great question. Hafiz, you are unmuted. Go ahead, Dustin.
I just got this question yesterday. And this is probably one of my really frequently asked questions I get over email and LinkedIn. And my top line answer is, for PPC based decisions, it's not one of the major ones we look at, mainly due to the purpose that if your click-through rate's really low, you can still make a profitable keyword profitable, or unprofitable keyword profitable, by lowering your bid. So you can have, 50 clicks in one order, and if you have appropriate bid, you can still be profitable. One thing we do look at, and I think Alex can probably hop in here, is if your click-through rate is poor, we probably want to look at, the type of ad we're running, maybe the copy, the targeting, things like that, and see if there's any other issues we can find with that poor click-through rate.
Hi, this is Imran. I mean, but my first name is Hafiz, but mostly I use my Imran middle name as main. So thank you very much, Destiny, for answering the question. Actually, I mean, a lot of people thought about different, like they have different angles for click-through rate. Some people said that, if your click-through rate is high, there's a good chance that you may earn this Amazon Choice Badge. So yeah, I mean, I understand that we do optimize. I mean, we don't look at click-through rate. Basically, we try to make every keyword or a product targeting more successful. But at the same time, if a keyword or product targeting is giving us better results, so does it make sense to, like, take this click-through rate into account? I mean, I'm just curious, like, if it is, what kind of ideas that we can use to incorporate that one?
Yeah, that's a great question. Alex or Kyle, do you have any more insights to add?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think if your time and resources allow, it's definitely something that's valuable to take into account. Our main goal is ultimately to drive profitable conversions, and there's a lot of faster and more scalable ways to account for that than going one by one. But I think, yeah, as it comes down to decisions like, do you need to look at the budgets? Do we need to trim up cash flow somewhere? Taking into account things like that, if you have the capacity to, is definitely helpful. Those are just my thoughts. Kyle, anything you have too?
Yeah, click-through rate's a funny one. I think I used to look too deeply into it, and I don't know to always trust that metric. Just because, if, let's say, a competitor of yours is constantly searching the category and they're just like browsing it to see how they're doing, they might click on your ad often, which will boost your click-through rate. No one ever wants to talk about that, but it happens. There's other reasons, like I would much rather look at conversion rate over click-through rate. It's just, you know, you actually got a sale out of that, as opposed to, like, if you have a beautiful hero image and people just click on it because it's wowing them, you might have a high click-through rate, but it might not actually be relevant to sales. But with that being said, you can filter by click-through rate and go one by one if you've got the time, line by line, and you might actually find things like that are super relevant to your product that you were missing. So, you know, just take all of that into consideration, and you know, don't always trust click-through rate, but there might be some gems hidden in there.
Great, thank you for nuggets. Actually, I have one more question. I mean, I think it may be there and I probably typed it. I don't know exactly it went through. It's about product display ad. I don't have access to AMS. So, but whenever I try to, I mean, I follow Destiny's posts, especially on Facebook, and she's very vocal about this product display ad. And I always go and try to, you know, launch campaigns. I launch campaign, it has very high cost. I did not have much knobs to play on Seller Central. So, I mean, what do you recommend to people like me who don't have access to AMS? Like, how can we utilize this product display ads?
Yeah, so good news, they are slowly rolling that out on Seller Central, it looks like, under sponsored display. I don't think it's widely accessible yet. I'm pretty sure it's still just a closed beta, but pretty soon you should have the ability to run a it's still ASIN targeting, but it shows up directly under the buy box. So in all of those posts I write about AMS product display ads, that's where the ASIN targeting is starting to populate. So that does really, really well just because of the placement. But without the copy, you really have to look at the products you're targeting. So making sure you have some type of competitive advantage, because you can't call it out in your ad. You can't say premium or maybe like all the other copy call outs. So look for ones that have a lower price point, or targeting products with a higher price point, or products that have poor reviews. And run coupons, because those sometimes populate within your product display ads as well. If you want to target a top competitor and you put a coupon on your listing, it looks really fantastic, increases your click-through rate and conversion rate.
So yeah, currently I don't see those kind of things that available to me. So because I don't use AMS, I don't have access to AMS either. I mean,
yeah,
I try asking.
It's under
now.
Yeah. Within the next few months, it should be fully open in Seller Central. So we can't actually affect the coupon, but under Seller Central, you can affect the targeting. So you can play around and make sure you're only targeting certain products at a certain price point or reviews. So if you go to the refine option under a product targeting, that's where you can do that.
Maybe I'm looking at different interface.
Yeah, if you want to shoot me an email, I'll send you a video walkthrough showing you where that's at, or a Facebook message.
Sure, I will send you. Thank you very much. You guys are very helpful.
Of course. Thank you.
Cool. Comment from Andrew. The nomenclature would be awesome. Destiny, do you think, what are your thoughts on sharing the, briefly sharing a company name example? Or
we can do that now, or if he wants to shoot us an email or a message, we can just shoot over a Loom and just open it up on an Excel sheet and walk them through. Honestly, even just our top line strategy.
Yeah, let me just share my screen and show our nomenclature sheet. I don't think it's anything crazy. Okay. So let me see how I can take back presentation. I think you have to make me the presenter by going to attendees, staff, and then click on the little arrow. Oh no, I can do it. I got it.
Okay. Hey.
Okay. Let me know if you guys can see my screen. Let me actually pause it and take a screenshot of it so that people aren't going to our client's URL somehow. Okay, so you should be able to see the screen. This is just a screenshot. This is kind of the approach we take to nomenclature. So the first key or part of a campaign name is product identifier. Destiny was talking about this. It's pretty much just like the seed keyword of the product, but there could be something in there like 20 liters, which basically just indicates that this product holds 20 liters of water or whatever it might be. So this is basically the main keyword that describes the product and tells us, hey, this is this product that's being advertised in this campaign. Keep in mind, we never put like 20 totally different products in one campaign. We're a huge advocate of like one specific type of product per campaign. That way your search term report is organized and you can filter by campaigns and get the proper customer search terms at the ad group level, etc. So you don't have mixed customer search terms in your campaigns. But the next key is campaign type. So there's all these different campaign types in Amazon now, SP, SB, SP, or SBPT, DV, and all of these little short acronyms, I believe that's the right word, stand for, you can see the explanation right next to them. Once we have the campaign type defined in the campaign name and the product identifier, then we'll go ahead and put in the campaign strategy that we use. Again, there's a lot of different strategies, but these are primarily our ones that we use most commonly. And then the campaign number and match type. So basically we'll have the match type because we separate our campaigns out by match type, and we do that because the budget is controllable at the campaign level. You cannot control the budget at the ad group level. And we, for certain campaigns, not all campaigns, but for certain campaigns, we like to control the budget at the match type level. And the only way to do that is to only put, broad match keywords in one campaign. So that's why we have this like B here, which stands for broad. Sometimes it'll be P, sometimes it'll be E, phrase exact. The 1.0 is internal nomenclature. I won't bother getting into discussing that. And then BA is just Better AMS. It's our company name. So that way we can easily filter. So that's more or less our nomenclature in a nutshell. And the keys are what all get grouped together. So if you were trying to envision what this would look like in a final product, it would just be like Concord, Cooler, SP, Nexus, 1.0 B, BA. And we put pipes in between each key. So that is our nomenclature in a huge nutshell, brain dump. If there's any questions on that, feel free to throw it in the box. Destiny, I'm going to make you the presenter again. Okay, you are the presenter. Let's see what questions. So Andrew, hopefully that helps. Miguel, I have a question about party supplies, PPC strategy. Miguel, I think we answered. Did we answer Miguel's question? Party supplies? I think we did. Yeah. He said he doesn't. I think we did. Miguel, if we didn't, let me know in the chat. Oh, he has another question. Okay, cool. Miguel, you are unmuted. There's two Miguels, so I'm just gonna unmute both. I think they're both your account. Your mic may be muted, but you are unmuted. So whenever you plug in your mic, it should work. Okay. Miguel, I'm assuming your mic may not be working, so feel free to just drop your question in the question box and we'll get to it next. That's the thing about unmuting people on webinars. Okay, so let's see who we got next.
Ben Morgan.
Okay, cool. Let me go ahead and unmute Ben. Ben, you're unmuted.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Cool. So I'm just feeling a little overwhelmed with the testing all of the different, variables that there are. And my question is regarding testing the bidding strategy. So I've been setting all my campaigns at the default setting that has just been set at when I initially created with dynamic bids for down only. But I want to know if I should test the other options because I saw there's below that the thing that replaces the bid plus. It has like this top of search first page, and I can adjust the percentage, and then also product pages. So I just wanted to see what your thoughts were about testing those options with like a new campaign.
Yeah. So for one, we do use dynamic down on everything. We have bid management in place as well. But in terms of buy placement, my main strategy has been waiting to collect data and seeing where I'm converting best. If I'm converting much better top of search, because you can see that after you launch the campaign, I make optimizations once I have the data to prove that. Sometimes for certain strategies, maybe I just want to 100% win, the number one placement for my top keywords, just because I have a competitive advantage from my competitors. I'll go ahead and start with increasing bids by top of search from the beginning of the campaign. But typically I launch it with no placement modifiers, just dynamic down. And then I'll check in like 2 to 3 weeks and kind of see where I'm converting best and then make an adjustment once I have the data to prove that.
Okay, great. That makes sense.
Yeah, and quick question, do you have any other bid management in place, or are you just relying on dynamic down?
I've just been doing the dynamic down because that was just the default, but I haven't done anything with like the top of search, like adjusting the percentages, but I don't know, I just want to know like what your thoughts were, if I should create a new campaign, like you said, for I guess like top performing keywords, or if I should even use that option at all.
Yeah, I definitely can relate to the feeling overwhelmed. I think that's something that a lot of people are doing is they're trying to launch campaigns and make all these optimizations, and just keeping them straight has been ridiculous lately. So that's kind of a scenario where we would put in our nomenclature, investing in top of search, something like that. So
Okay.
yeah, I would recommend continuing with the strategy you're doing, and then just checking in and seeing maybe you convert so much better on top of search than you do a product detail page. Then you can go ahead and put those bid modifiers in place because you have data.
Okay, great. That makes sense. Thank you.
Awesome, of course.
Cool. Luca is asking what Facebook group we are in and how to join.
Well, we don't have our own specific Facebook group, but Samer Brax is a group that I'm pretty active in, and Mina's pretty active in as well, and provides a lot of great responses to and a lot of great knowledge. Mina and I have both done quite a bit of PPC videos, so if you're kind of looking for some foundational PPC tips, then check those out. And always feel free to send me a Facebook request or follow me on LinkedIn. Taylor, Kyle, Alex, and I are all of us are really active on LinkedIn. So if you have that, I would probably check us out there. And then I personally post a lot of content on Facebook, and Taylor does as well. So you can follow our pages personally.
Cool. Eric Coop, if I'm pronouncing your last name correctly. Also, Gabriel's pretty active on LinkedIn too. My acceptable, okay, let me go ahead and unmute you. Let me see if you're still on here. Eric, you were unmuted.
Hello?
Hey, Eric.
Hey, guys. I'm unmuted, but I
Awesome.
may have to mute myself at some point because I'm with the kids.
Respect to you, that's for sure. This is a great question. Kyle or Alex, this may be a great time for one of you guys to hop on. We've been in this scenario a few times where we had trouble with indexation and ranking for our top keywords we're targeting. Something that we typically look at is your listing, and maybe you're having ranking indexation problems with your listing in general. Have you had any issues with that?
That might be a possibility. One of the keywords that we are trying to rank for is a disease, and we're a supplement. So we can't have that in our listing. So we have it on the back end, but we can't have it on the front end. Even though our supplement has been, tested in like the world's top dermatology journal, we can't mention any disease or disease states. So it's, we're even going up to like, $8, $10 PPC and not indexing at all. We did once just by some whim, but then we haven't been able to get back onto that page. Like we'll start on that page, but then we'll drop. Well, I'll see us on like page 1 or 2 for a few minutes, and then we'll just drop. So it's a challenge.
So there's a few things I've had to do to kind of work around this. We had a similar supplement product, had very specific dietitian guidelines that we couldn't get up on. And what we looked at doing as a workaround is doing a product display ad targeting all of the top competitors on the page. So that way, even though we're not winning page 1, we're still getting visibility for everyone that is on the top 3 products. Starting with our Longtail Keywords is another scenario, and making sure we're winning all of those. If you start indexing for your Longtail Keywords, it's sometimes easier to index for your top keywords. And then testing video and search. And are you also not video and search, top of search? Or have you put any bid modifiers in there to like 90% up top of search?
Yes, we have done that. And I know you can go up to like 900%. And I think we toyed around with 100%, but I think it was too broad. I had too many keywords under that section. So yeah, I ended up, going all crazy, but maybe I'll just try it with that keyword or those few keywords, go back and try that at 100% or 200% and just try to rank.
Yeah, we recommend putting your kind of ranking keywords in their own campaign for this reason, because then you can make those adjustments and you can justify hemorrhaging spend to collect data. Where if you have a major keyword in your long tail campaigns, your overall data skewed. So I would look at that. And then when you are getting clicks on those expensive keywords, is your CPC $8, even though you're bidding that?
No, I wasn't getting any clicks, 0 clicks with that. So
is
for
that
one
for
reason
both
or another,
brands and
no, for sponsored brand, like if I target ASINs, then I get tons and tons of clicks. Then I'm okay. I think that I can do. I just have to play with the budget a little bit because some of the clicks were getting pretty high and we weren't converting. So yeah, that's something I'll have to look at because we were writing the not to cut you off, I'm sorry, but we were writing the coattails of like the #1 product in the category, but like the cost per click was just a little too high. And then we had, it was like, I don't know, $4 or $5, which we were totally willing to do, but nobody was buying and our listing wasn't optimized. And then we ran out of product. So now it's like, now we have like 10,000 new units and we're like rebooting. So yeah, we're just trying to, it's very complicated. So you have been very helpful, like your YouTube videos and everything you put online. I'm just like, wow, this is like, I've never been like so excited to like get back into my campaign after watching your YouTube video. So thanks for that.
Of course. Thank you so much. And if you ever have specific questions or run into anything, feel free to shoot me a message. I try to get back to all of them. One other thing I would recommend is if you're not running headline search ads, try to run those.
A headline search ad. Is that like, I'm not sure exactly what that is, but do you need 3 or more products in order to do that? We were trying to do something like that, but we only have 1 product.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, your landing page would need at least 3 products. Do you have variations or anything? Different sizes?
We have we could do different packages if we wanted to sell like, you know, 2 and 3 bottles, but it's still just 30 pills in one bottle. But we only have that one product.
Gotcha. Yeah, sponsored brands headline search ads are great. They typically run around 30% of the sales your sponsored products do because of the decreased inventory. But if you don't have the in place, it doesn't make sense. But if you want to come across any specific scenarios or questions with that, I would love to dive in and see if I can help make recommendations on how to structure your campaigns.
Yeah, we would love to chat with you.
Awesome. Well, feel free to shoot me a message and I can send over a video walkthrough.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Cool.
Thank you, and have fun at home with the kids.
Yeah, it's a little crazy right now.
Cool. Thanks, Eric.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for this.
All right. Miguel, I have a mic now. That was before I think we unmuted you. Hafiz, how can we optimize product display ads on Seller Central account? I think we spoke with him earlier about that.
Yes.
Miguel, I have another question regarding my PPC campaigns. I have a mic now. I'm going to try to unmute you one more time. Let's see if this works. Miguel, you are unmuted. Doesn't seem to be working. Probably best just throw your question in the question box and we'll go ahead and get it answered since the mic seems to have some issues.
Cool.
Abe?
Next question. Yeah. Abe. This is a great question. We get this pretty frequently. If an account has sponsored,
no, you get. Go ahead. Sorry, there's a lag. You got it.
If an account has sponsored brands available both in AMS and Seller Central, should I run SB ads in both places? Is there a benefit to one or the other, and would they conflict with each other? So, easiest answer is we found, or we've heard, and we've seen some different data sets that if you're running them in correlation with each other, there is potential for them to compete just because you're both fighting for the #1 placement. So we recommend you don't run headline search ads both placements just because there's no benefit. Now, when people start kind of wanting to shift over from one platform or to the other, like let's say you have 40 legacy headline search ad campaigns under AMS and people want to consolidate onto Seller Central, we almost always recommend you don't do this because you're losing a lot of data indexation and history from those legacy campaigns, and your ACOS will spike around 7 to 8% is what we've seen. Yes, you can probably optimize that down over time, but is it willing to wait 6 to 8 months to get your ACOS back down? Probably not. And relevancy to this question as well is product display ads. We always recommend running them in AMS if you do have access to both platforms. Cool. I think that's it with that one.
Cool. Subhan has a question. I think we spoke with him earlier. What's the best PPC strategy you recommend in highly competitive categories or products such as remote control cars and Rubik's cubes?
This is pretty in-depth question, which could have a lot of variables. Two of the biggest things I recommend if you're running in competitive categories is not necessarily PPC strategy, but it is having bid management in place. That's probably one of the best ways to make competitive categories profitable is just by optimizing your bids. The next best thing is probably being very good at keyword research. So there's times where you're probably not ever going to make Rubik's cubes profitable unless you have a brand new to market Rubik's cube that just does incredibly well. But you can optimize your bids and get them for lower CPCs, and then you can bid on long-tail keywords. You can invest in product display ads, and there's so many other smaller things you can do, which can really help drive down, the overall ACOS. So Keyword research, investing in your long tail keywords. Yes, it's going to be much less impressions, much less traffic, but much more profitable. And all of those additional long tail keywords really add up to drive incremental sales. Anything anyone else has to add to that?
Yeah, just hit the long tail hard. Try to use as much of the advertising options as possible. Like if you got access to headline search, use it. Product targeting, use it. Use every piece you can, and just find that profitability mark and just stay there, so that you're not, you can really hemorrhage money if you're chasing one of those really like remote control cars. And then on top of that, make sure your listing is perfect, because if someone lands on that page, you don't want them to leave. So make it the best it can be.
Yeah, I'll add one
1000%.
thing. Especially with the kids category, you know, it's a lot of kids on their parents' iPad or their parents' phone, and I'm sure they've kind of figured out the add to cart or add to wish list button. So really taking advantage of all the creative you have. The one big thing that comes to my mind is on the new sponsored brand headline search ads. There's the custom image beta that allows you to use 1200 by 600 image instead of the usual tiny little square. So if you guys have some killer lifestyle imagery, definitely setting up headline ads. So whether it's the parent or the child that's scrolling through their search results, they get hit with that big, beautiful image of whatever your product is. Those look super awesome, especially on the mobile formats. So taking advantage of that if you can.
Love it.
Agreed. Video in search would be legendary for toys too. I was just buying a cat toy for one of my cats yesterday, and it was like a phenomenal video of the cat just like having a ton of fun, and I actually purchased. It was really funny being an advertiser, clicking on an ad and purchasing. But video in search for toys is great because you can, you know, display the happiness a kid has playing with the RC car or the Rubik's Cube or whatever. So that's also huge. Also, I don't know if we do this, Destiny or Kyle or Alex, but for a while, like you could just bid on individual keywords like toy or RC or car, or just, I mean, Rubik's is probably different because that in itself is a brand name, but you could just bid on these keywords at really low bids, broad match, talking like 17, 27, 47, 57 cents. With like small budgets of like $10, $15 per day. Generally, this will bring in super long tail keywords, but it will be quite profitable. And it's not always the case, but this is something that I used to do when I was managing accounts every time, is just set up these campaigns targeting individual keywords, small budget, really low bids, broad match, single words, and it'll just bring in a lot of long tail keywords. If it works out, it'll be really profitable, but that's all I got on my end.
Awesome. So Miguel's next question. Made a long tail keyword campaign. It's performing with 47% ACOS. I took the keywords that are converting well, but once I create exact match campaign for those exact keywords, the conversion is very bad. Keywords are not working on individual campaigns, but they are working inside my long tail keyword campaigns where I have a ton of keywords. So I get this question pretty often in relation to like keyword isolation and things like that. One thing I want to note is at Better AMS, we test all match types, broad, phrase, and exact. So we don't move keywords around from different batches. We don't run them only in broad and then move them to exact. We run them in all three formats. The main reason is what typically happens when you move your keywords like this is you can never replicate what made a keyword profitable in a certain campaign in another campaign. So if you're running all these keywords in a long tail campaign, they could be showing up top of search, bottom of search. You don't know what actually made them profitable. So if you move them and put them in an exact, well, an exact is typically more expensive because you have a lot of people bidding on that exact same search term. So that's kind of a reason why they may not convert as well, is because of competition, things like that. And they don't have the data and indexation that they do in your long tail keyword campaign. So I would kind of recommend just optimizing and finding the sweet spot with the bids and understanding that you can't replicate the success of a certain keyword. Another thing to note is when you're bidding on keywords in broad and phrase, they're showing up for a lot of different search terms that you probably don't realize. So if you're bidding on soccer ball and broad and phrase, it's going to show up for, again, soccer ball boys, soccer ball size 4. And then if you try to move that to an exact, it's just very specific and only considering the competition for that exact keyword. I think that was clear. That was kind of a confusing response, I guess. Cool.
That's great. Miguel, if you have any questions on that, he says, okay, thank you, with a smiley face. So should be good there.
Ooh, Andrew just had a really great call out. If you do have a store page in place, you can run sponsored brand headline ads to the store page. But if you don't have a store page, you can't drive it to a landing page with one ASIN. It's kind of the differentiator there, but that's a really great workaround to mention if you're still on air.
Cool. Luca is asking, deduplicate keyword. Can you kindly explain it again? Under what circumstances sellers need to deduplicate keywords? Well, I'll just briefly give my 2 cents on this one since I spent like a month of my life building a process for deduping keywords. For us, the primary place where we do deduping, I mean, keep in mind we're an agency, but I recommend this to anyone. When we come into an account, the first thing we do is more or less called the Nexus campaign launch, where we launch a bunch of campaigns. And these campaigns are campaigns that contain unique customer search terms from your search term report that are not yet being bidded on as keywords. So what we do for our dedupe process is we'll take the sponsored product report, or the search term report, and we'll take like the list of keywords that are being bidded on in the keyword column, and we'll dedupe that from the customer search terms column. There's actually a formula we create where we like insert a column, and then it tells us whether the customer search term is a duplicate or if it's unique. So that way we can filter the search term report to be able to show us only unique customer search terms. And then once we have a search term report that shows us only unique customer search terms, we'll then filter by, the target ACoS for the client, depending on whether it's the product level or the account level. We'll look for all keywords that have, for example, like less than 25% ACoS, if that's the target for the client's account. And then we'll just take those keywords, divide them up by product, and put them into campaigns. Very, very simple, but that's like the most important dedupe process we go through that comes to my mind. And you can repeat this for sponsored brands, for sponsored products, search term report, and for now, video and search term reports, which some accounts have access to. So 3 search term reports that you can dedupe from to find data. And it's actually, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just gonna hop in. I had answered part of this question for him yesterday, so I think he is asking, like, that was a wonderful explanation on the in-depth part of it, but I was just gonna add more in-depth explanation of what I had said, so sorry if you're not done.
No, you can go ahead.
Oh, cool. I think what I had mentioned yesterday is from like an 80-20 perspective, the only time we really do duplicate keywords is if it's a different strategy and we're trying to use one of those bid modifiers like top of search 80%, we want to win that #1 sponsored placement. Then it's really not an issue, to put it into a different campaign focusing on the top of search because it's a ranking keyword. We try to deduplicate in the process that Taylor explained. That's how, like, basically the keyword report, my search term report. But it's not like gonna absolutely murder your account if you have a few instances with different strategies that you're running, especially for sponsored products. Sponsored brands, you can run into a little bit more of an issue because you're all fighting for typically that top headline search ad place or a few other placements on the page. But for sponsored products, if you have 3 different products that aren't in a variation, you can bid on the exact same keywords for all 3 of those similar products. because you're just going to win multiple sponsored product placements on a page. So that was kind of like the simplified response of what I sent yesterday, if that is what you're looking for.
Cool. Love it.
Awesome. I think that was like everything.
Andrew Kane says, Destiny, I took your advice and opened up the targeted keywords on our clients' sponsored brand video beta campaigns to target single keywords. Sales have doubled and ACOS is flat. We are now able to scale the campaign. Epic.
It's been crazy. I'm like targeting, I think it's because if people see a video that's not relevant to them, they're not going to click on it. So it's pretty much like a low price to pay. You can, I mean, you could sell like a dog toy and target pets. And if they don't have a dog, they're not even going to click on it. So it's not going to hurt you. It's not like they're going to click and look at it and then just hop out because they want to spend their time watching a video. These have done really incredible, especially now that it's opened up to desktop. I think there's a lot of potential here. So super pumped to see what happens in the future with these campaigns. Awesome. I think that's everything.
Yep. If there's any other questions, feel free to put them in the box, but there's no other questions. So we'll give this like 20 seconds if there's nothing else. I hope this was really helpful.
Cool. Awesome. Also, wanted to give a big thank you to everyone and let everyone know that we are thinking about everyone and everything that's going on. And I hope everyone's staying safe and healthy and probably social distancing, which is not anything different than what the most of us e-commerce people do. So hopefully everyone is just being really safe and continuing to scale and handle everything that's thrown at them.
Cool. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Are we going to be posting the recording? Probably.
Yeah, I think it'd be great for people to take a look at it on YouTube and stuff. There are some amazing questions that got asked.
Yeah, agreed. It'd be a good post for YouTube. Cool. Huge thanks for everybody showing up. Much love. And yeah, like Dusty said, stay safe.
Awesome. Bye, guys. Thank you. Ooh, Taylor, are you still on?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, Saban, if I'm saying your name right, feel free to shoot us a message. We've actually spoke with a few brands in these markets, and we're running in a lot of the other marketplaces. So we would love to talk and see if there's any way we can help or collaborate. All right, I am about to hop off.
Cool. Yeah, I'll wrap it up. Thanks, everyone.
All right.